found us. More podcast, where we want you to know God more deeply. Find lasting freedom. Discover your destiny and make an eternal difference. Now.
It's like we got Helen Keller in the podcast. It's like, what are we doing here?
Oh, man.
Hey, guys, you're happy to be here today, I imagine, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no other place you'd rather be than in the undisclosed podcast room hidden in the church somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah. So we've been having some interesting weather here again. It's like every week is something there.
I'm tired of talking about the weather.
I know. Now we've got flooding going on.
Yeah.
It's like the worst 2 years I can remember.
Yeah.
This has been a rough northern.
I just want like a normal day. Don't do anything. Don't rain. Don't nothing. So yeah, it's been a lot of flooding going on. We got a lot of people in the church that are dealing with flooding. I don't know. I'm just thinking they keep talking about those dams, and they had Senator John DeMoose down there by the dam talking about how if it goes, this is going to be a problem. And I don't understand it. Okay, so they've tried to explain it so many times on the internet. If the dam goes down, they're saying that it's going to flood everything around the river there, around the lake by the dam. But where I'm at in Mullet Lake, they're saying it could drop. I don't get that.
I've heard the same thing.
Higher.
Mullet Lake is higher, really?
Like 11 feet higher.
Oh, okay.
So it's higher. And so what happened is so the dam has made it so that the water levels in these three lakes stay high.
Okay. And if that goes,
it's
all going out to Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
Right. So you know how it's a weir, kind of like a dam, in Lansing, that keeps Crooked Lake and Pickerel Lake up to boating depth.
Oh, okay.
Those lakes are only like 13 feet deep.
Right, and weren't they saying Crooked would be like, you'd have 12 new feet of beachfront. Like that would get
probably
sucked
more
out.
like 100 feet.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's only about 12, 13 feet
That's
deep.
I heard that yesterday from somebody who was like, yeah, if that thing fails, property value, all that sort of stuff is all at stake for right around us. And obviously we're thinking about that. There's people's houses are decimated now. So
I'm not an engineer, but how did that happen to begin with? I mean, when did we have to get involved with the levels of the lakes?
Well, you just think about it. They created, tons of property, lakefront property.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
By, doing that. So the Army Corps of Engineers, they're the ones that planned that all out back in the 40s.
So they came up with all these ideas. It'd be interesting to see if we did go down to see what's in the water, like hidden.
Well, it's
like
mud, man,
and
then everybody's smelly all summer long. Like it'd be awful, and kill off all kinds of
fish and stuff.
And think about all the fishermen. That whole economy there. It'd be bad news. That thing, we don't want that thing to fail.
Well, there's still
so
a monster
reasons.
sturgeon out there in Mullet. I mean, they talk about it every year. Like the fishermen are out there and they're ice fishing, and they see this massively long fish come past the hole, and everybody's like, "There it is!" Because you can. I think they only have so many you can catch a year.
Yeah, there's a season on it.
Yeah,
but it's like
really
a shot,
short.
It's like a shotgun start where I think they do it for like an hour or two. Like it's not a
You're not
Then you got to
gonna
get
have
It's kind of like getting an elk tag or something like that. You got to like get into it,
But yeah, every time I've seen that thing on video, it's like the Loch Ness monster.
Those are crazy. Yeah. I mean, your mother-in-law showed me a picture. Jill saw one had washed up on, and I won't give away her spot, but it's guarded, right?
Don't tell.
Do not tell. But so it washed up on the shore, and it was a smaller one, but I'd never seen them that close, and it almost looks like armor.
Yeah,
it is the craziest.
It's a dinosaur.
It is a dinosaur.
Yeah,
like their scales are the craziest looking things ever.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We're getting a new McDonald's in Indian River. I'm pretty excited, and the paper.
Man, what a segue!
Yeah, right.
No, this is the reason why I say that, because it has something to do.
Selling sturgeon.
Yes, caviar is on the menu.
They're doing a sturgeon themed restaurant.
Oh,
that's why I
really?
bring it up, because of sturgeon. Yeah,
That's
Is it going to be in the same location?
No. They moved it to the four-way stop there at the light. Yeah, they moved it over there by the bank. And that's the one thing that's I guess the city was really like adamant about. You're going to have something. If you're going to be next to the big fish, you got to do something. So they're going to have sturgeon theme.
Cool.
Yeah, so
that's fun.
That's how I segued into sturgeon.
Yeah.
Now you're following me.
No, I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Yeah. But I was just like, that's pretty interesting. So I've seen some of the pictures of the mock-ups they put in the paper. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
It'll be fun.
I can't believe that a McDonald's would go with that, honestly, because they always have their franchise theme. Like, this is what we do. But we're getting rid of Ronald McDonald. We're putting in the fish.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm all for localizing things.
Right.
Those McDonald's all look the same. You know what I mean?
They do.
It kind of gets a little boring and bland.
Well, now
You think of cathedrals back in the, 1700s and all this stuff that they were building, and now we're just building these geometric squares
all the time.
Right. Let's have some fun.
The thing I don't like now is that they're moving to the automated systems. So like the people that work there never come to the counter anymore. They act like they're not even in the building. And you're trying to order your food and you got to get on the screen and do all this stuff. And I don't know about you, but some point in your life as you're getting older, that stuff does not make sense to you anymore. Like it did when you were younger, right? Like I remember getting on a computer and I'm like, I can figure this all out. And I was always the smartest, at least kid in the room, or at least where I was at. And now you're sitting there and you're like, what am I doing? Like you got it. Like, I don't know what I'm like.
Chatbot or something.
Yeah, I'm like, what am I doing here? And Amy's like, move over, I'll help you out. And then she's like, she can't figure it out either. And we're like just poking at stuff on the screen. I don't know. So I'm not into that. I want customer service.
54 you guys 54 coffees.
Yeah, right. I didn't want that. I just want to talk to somebody. It's kind of like when you're on the phone and you're trying to get help for something.
Yeah.
And
That's
you're talking to an AI. I hate that.
That's the worst.
And you're saying it, and the AI is repeating it back, and it's like the wrong thing. Like I don't want that. I want this. Yeah.
So my thing. I don't do this anymore because I now have a wife, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Who keeps things on the rails here. I used to pay bills in the car because I hated doing it, and I do it with my kids, right? And so we get on like the automated system to pay the bill, and it was always like I try to get my kids to laugh. You know what I mean? To say the most crazy thing or like, monotone. Yes. No. Talk to someone. It was just awesome. It was fun.
Isn't that hard though? I mean, like you're trying to get to somebody.
Well, I
that
mean,
can
I
talk
could
to.
just go to auto pay, and forget all that stuff. But
auto pay, they rip
Takes
you
away the
off.
fun.
yeah,
They rip you off though.
You're a good dad.
that's
A dad can take a very
mundane thing. That was the
terrible
idea.
thing and make it fun.
That's what I was trying to do.
Hauling wood, we're making it fun.
Right.
Is it fun?
We made it fun. Everything in my life was made to be fun.
Let me tell you a story about the
How
Hebrew
did your
children.
dad make hauling wood fun?
Oh, he didn't haul wood. We did.
There you go.
We would set up assembly line and we would time it, and it was like it was always competition. And
Yeah, there
how
you
far
go.
away you could get and throw it and still catch it
Okay.
and get to the next guy. We had a million contests for it.
That's what. Yeah.
So, Peach, have you ever seen the meme on the internet that's like when your dad walks into your room at 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday and says, "Hey, I got something for us to do," and it's immediately like, "Oh no,
yeah, it's never gonna be fun.
here comes 8 hours of hard labor."
I used to use it to lead into
8
stories
hours
about the Hebrew children being slaves in Egypt. I'm like, I just want to give you an illustration, a real life
Kid,
illustration.
I'm trying to give you a testimony.
Right,
That's
this
right.
is it.
That's right.
You want to
This is
know
good stories?
You want to know what it was like? Let's go outside.
My dad would rent a wood chopper.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Right. But then the day before, make me chop wood for 6 hours with a mallet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. It's like, Dad, this was coming. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it's good for you, kid.
yeah.
He's told me that story before, so I know it's true.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Oh man,
It's like, it's good for you. Every kid needs to know how to swing an axe, which he's not wrong. I can swing an axe now, right?
right.
My dad used to do that too,
is
but he
true.
would get. The thing is that my mom would argue with him about having me use an axe.
Yeah.
So I'd get the dullest axe that I don't know in the county, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, you just chop this up for tonight," because we had a wood stove for a while, and the house we moved in East Jordan, and I'm like, this thing does not work, and I'm out there beating the heck out of it trying to get the thing to go through. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to help you boys out a little bit. Okay. If you're going to talk this way, you have to know it's a splitting maul.
It's a splitting maul.
Splitting
It's not
maul?
a mallet. It's not an axe. You don't chop wood with an axe.
Right.
Oh, that's what I was not using an axe. It was a splitting maul.
splitting maul.
I hope you were using a splitting maul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was an axe, it's a bad type.
No, it was.
Is that
you're
what's
talking
the-
about the one with the
felling
big
trees.
wedge, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. No, this is
The
that.
maul is
Yeah.
the
Big heavy thing.
Yeah.
It's
Put it
not
on
really
there and
sharp,
tap it
but
in it.
you're-
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It splits it.
I did not have that. I had an actual
That's
You're using
horrible.
an axe.
like Abraham Lincoln kind of axe. Yeah.
That's worse.
That your dad was punishing you.
That's what I'm saying.
That's an awful experience.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I have trauma in my life.
You can split pine with those. Like you see them on TV.
Yeah.
You know those
Sure.
lumberjack guys.
Yeah,
It's pine.
Right.
You can
Yeah.
split that with your toenails.
a maple tree or not.
Right.
Yeah. I always thought it was like when I got them all out to do it, right? I'm like gonna go split trees or split wood, and it was like, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun
for the first 3,
and then for 5 minutes, and then you're like, I am so sore.
Yeah.
And tired, and this is no fun.
You know, the other thing my dad would do is he stopped getting that wood, and he found out that he can get free pallets because there's a pallet place.
Yeah.
And he would get all these free pallets, but they're all together still.
Yeah.
So then my job was to cut them apart, and so he'd be hours.
yeah.
Did you have a sawzall for that, or would you?
Yeah, I had a sawzall. Yeah, and so I'm out there with a sawzall cutting it out. But after like the
Probably
first
better
or
than
few
splitting.
pallets, I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then you got to clean all the nails up out of the
Yeah.
fireplace.
Oh,
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to take them out. Anyways.
Well, Saturday we're going to my house and we're cleaning, and it's
old
gonna
one?
be we're gonna get my kids are gonna do all the stuff. So it's
good.
like
Sit them down and say, listen, I want to read you a story out of Deuteronomy.
that's right. I'm gonna go
Or Exodus, the Hebrew slaves.
We're selling this house, and so my realtor's like, you got to get all the dog poop out of the yard. I'm like, all right, boys.
Here we go.
Guess what you're doing?
Give them a rake and a shovel.
Cleaning up fire pits and dog poop.
I don't know. Do you throw it in the woods when you? I mean, you just
Yeah.
throw it in the woods. Yeah, that's what I do too.
Good for the plants.
That's right.
And until the summertime hits, and then the waft of the smell comes across from the breeze, and
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah, you know.
yeah, that's got to be the skunks. I don't know. Okay, well, do you wonder why you take the time each week to listen to more podcasts? I'll tell you why. More stands for maximizing opportunities right now and for eternity. So stop asking why you listen. Just never forget to listen and pass it on. And our sponsor comes to us today via recording.
Gee whiz, fellas. It's been a long day at the office, hasn't it? And back at home, well, Mom's been hard at work too, keeping the house just right, tending to the kids, and wondering what on earth to make for supper again. But tonight is different. Because this episode is brought to you by Wednesday night live dinner at 5:30. That's right. One special night a week when Mum doesn't have to cook and doesn't even have to pretend she enjoys it. Dad, this is your moment. Scoop up the family, tip your hat, and say, honey, tonight we're going out. And for just $3 per person, you can feed the whole gang. A price so friendly, it might just make you smile all the way home. Why not turn it into a midweek date night? Something that says, I love you, dear, and I appreciate everything you do. And what's on the menu? Why, it's Piper's Pizza every week. Reliable, delicious, and sure to put a little pep in everyone's step. But hold on now. Once a month, things get mighty interesting because it's Mystery Menu Night. Could be tacos, could be sloppy joes, or maybe something that tastes like it came straight from Grandma's kitchen, made with care and a whole lot of love. You don't choose the meal chooses you. And yes, sir, there's even a salad bar. Just the thing to keep things balanced before that second or third slice of pizza. So don't make Mum wonder what's for dinner one more night. Give her a break. Give her a smile. And join us every Wednesday at 5:30. Come hungry. Bring the family. Because Wednesday night live dinner is where Mum gets the night off and everybody wins.
That take you back to
Wow.
They take you back to the 40s. I know it's a little long.
It's
but-
got some major like Fallout vibes to
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably because I've been watching Fallout.
Probably is.
Yeah.
So you sent that to us in text message last night. For some reason, I don't know why, but my text message, I'm in the car with Rachel and I don't know what we're doing, but it played it.
Oh, did it?
So like from the text, like I didn't have to hit play. And so I was like, text message from Pastor Alex. And then it plays the whole thing. And I'm like, I guess we have to listen to this now.
Yeah, you don't have a
like,
choice.
it just automatically went. So yeah, it was kind of funny.
Little Fallout. Yeah,
Yeah.
Fallout stuff there. A little influence there.
Tacos.
Tacos.
Yeah. How'd she say that? That was
I
kind
don't know. I just thought I had watched an old Folgers commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I got to do something like that.
Right.
But yeah,
What is that? That's like 50s era.
yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
He's like,
yeah. What is that? Yeah.
in
It's
your
like a
verbiage,
style,
it's
I would
Fallout.
think. It's Fallout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Fallout. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take an idea break. Come back
fun.
with announcements.
You're listening to more podcast, over-caffeinated, Holy Spirit fueled, and somehow 4 hybrid preachers, Gary, Hunter, Ted, and Alex, fresh out of Area 51. We'll be right back.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm dragging today.
Yeah.
I had a long night. Our stupid hound dog took off on us because of the storm scared her. And she took off into the woods, and then she's out there hiding somewhere.
Yeah. You and your dogs, man.
Classic,
done.
classic
I'm done.
hound dog move, though.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like-
yeah.
I'm like, I'm about had it with her.
You're like,
So-
I hate that this is just part of your DNA.
Yeah, I know. No, you know
You
what's-
don't have a choice in this animal, but
No.
stop doing
I'm
the
gonna
thing.
say
that
The
you
reason
are
why
bred to
hound
do.
rhymes with pound, right?
Right.
No, but I'm driving around and it's so super foggy. I can't see anything in front of me.
Oh, that's the
and
worst.
lightning struck right in front of my vehicle.
Really?
And it was so close that the hair on my arms and stuff raised up. I could smell it, and I'm like, felt like the
Wow.
energy from it. I was like, oh my gosh.
You have superpowers now, I bet.
Yeah, I bet.
50-50,
You're
right?
in.
I mean, it
I
could,
turned around, I went home, and I'm like, Amy, you would not believe what just happened to me.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? And I'm telling her, and she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, for real. Yeah, it actually
have
happened.
you tried running since this happened?
Yeah,
right,
We got to do some things. What am I thinking about right now?
I was like, I'm glad it didn't hit me, but I have never been that close to lightning. But anyways, no one knows where he came from, but we do know this: he used to hunt Bigfoot, tracked him, studied him, got real close. Then one day the hunt just stopped. No explanation, no final report,
That's
just
right.
silence. And ever since then, he walks a little quieter, moves through rooms like he knows the woods. We're not saying he found Bigfoot, but something definitely found him. Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Ted.
Can we please talk about Bigfoot at some point? I want to talk about Bigfoot.
might as well.
All right. So I got across from me. Some say he owns the rarest Pokemon card known to mankind. It's not graded. It's not cataloged. Not even acknowledged by science. They say it only comes out at night, and if only you ask the right questions. Others have tried to find it. None have succeeded. We're not saying it's real, but we're saying he knows something, ladies and gentlemen. Pastor Hunter.
I do have a good
do you?
Pokemon card.
He does have Pokemon,
But not the rarest Pokemon card.
What is just what?
Probably the Pikachu illustrated card.
Okay.
I think
Oh,
it's sold for $15 million.
That is
Really?
some crazy.
$15 million for a card.
Yeah, it was bought for
Nerds have money.
It was
That's
bought
what
for
that
$1
is.
million, and then I think it was bought. Maybe it's lower than that, but it's over $1 million. Right?
Really?
That's crazy.
What about the Charizard? Are they still pretty expensive?
Those are still very expensive.
I knew it.
Huh.
Just not the Pikachu illustrated
I think-
card. All right.
I think my son's got
It's been
one.
said he'll baptize anyone, anywhere, at any time, which explains that one summer when a group got baptized at Area 51. No photos, no records, no confirmation. Just a few people came back a little different. He's never talked about it. I've even asked him, and he won't say anything. And honestly, he never will. Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Gary.
Right. And the man with all of the talent and the knowledge of what every button and knob does on that machine over there. The man who bowls overhand.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because underhand's for wimps.
Yep. That's true.
He gave his father the talk. and his passport requires no photograph. Pastor Alex Norton.
Oh my gosh.
That is a mental image. Yeah, that's good. Well, we'll be right back with, we're going to talk about something interesting. Pastor Gary has been watching the Masters. It's over now. We have a winner.
Yep.
But I did a little deep dive trying to figure out, what's going on with this game. I don't really know a lot about the Masters, but I did my research and found out some interesting facts. I wanted to see how much you know.
Test me?
Yeah, I want to test
Okay.
you, see what you come up with. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the More podcast, the podcast no one brings up, but somehow everyone's already heard. The one your friends won't recommend, keep accidentally quoting a little truth. A little chaos and just enough real to keep you coming back. The More Podcast, if you know, you know.
All right, here we go. 5 things you didn't know about the Masters tournament. Yeah. Okay, so Pastor Gary.
Yes.
Did you know that they don't give a gold trophy at the Masters? Did you know that?
I did. I know all the answers to every one of these.
Did you really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
But keep going. I'm having fun.
the Masters trophy is actually silver, but the real prize is what?
It's a green jacket.
The green jacket, yes. So basically, you become a promoted regional manager at the country club after you win the tournament. So no, you get a green jacket.
Green jacket.
You get the green jacket, which is a big deal.
Yep.
And I thought that was pretty good. Now, this is the other thing I found out, and you probably know that the jacket doesn't fully belong to you.
Correct.
Yeah. Why is that?
They keep it right there at the club, and you get to put it on when you get back there. And they have a
You only get to wear it at the club.
That's
you
it.
can't leave
Yeah.
the premises.
yeah.
Huh.
Well, they let you. This is one thing that was interesting. They let you have it for 1 year.
Right. You can
wear
wear it
it
around to do all your interviews and all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then it's supposed to go back to the club,
and that's
stay
where
there.
it stays.
Yep.
Really?
Isn't that weird?
That's kind of cool.
And
though.
apparently, I mean, so Rory just won it for the second time in a row.
Big deal.
It's the same jacket. He got
he
the
doesn't
same
get
jacket.
another jacket.
He said it still fits when they put it on him.
Good for him.
What if it doesn't? I mean, that's the problem. You know? It's kind of like like winning like a Lamborghini. You only get to drive for a year, and then you got to park it at the dealership after you're done. It's like, why did I get that?
Yeah, that's interesting. You don't get another jacket.
Well, is it Jack Nicklaus has 6 of them? So
Yeah, sure.
how many jackets do you need?
Right.
Or really, he has one that he's worn
Correct.
6 times, right? That's
Right.
what we're
Right, but
doing,
yeah,
I
Tom
don't
Brady
know.
or Bill Belichick to get to walk around with all those rings on their fingers.
Yeah.
But
So
I
how
mean,
do you
and then-
flex
and then-
on them?
and
How do you
it-
go? Oh, you got a green jacket? I have
I don't
7
thi-
times green jackets.
Right. I don't think you
right?
need to be sporting. Yeah. Everybody in the world knows what you've
Okay.
done. Yeah.
All right.
It's
Okay.
that prestigious.
Yeah,
And of course, the trophy, as you said, is silver, but it's actually the clubhouse. It's a silver copy of the clubhouse.
nice.
So it's a big giant.
But
thing.
don't they give you a smaller one that
I think
you
you
get to
do
take?
get a replica.
You don't get to take the real trophy home.
Right. You get a replica.
and it's not even real
Which
silver.
I think
like
that's
nickel
cool.
plated.
Like Stanley Cup. You know what I mean? It's the same thing, stays around. I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Give me the replica. I'm okay with the old. This is like, forever,
Time-honored
never,
tradition.
100 years ago. That's right. Some guy had the same trophy. I think that's kind of cool.
That's like going to the Olympics and winning gold medal, and they're like, no, it's gold plated.
And then
Copper.
at the ceremony, so normally, let's say, Tiger wins, and then somebody else wins. Tiger puts the green jacket on the next
Yeah.
winner.
Got
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah, but Rory, because he won it last year,
Who puts it
Put it on
on
himself.
the winner if he's a 2-time in a row back-to-back winner?
it's the director of the tournament does it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So he
Which
does
is so much aura to have him come
Yeah,
up
oh,
and
yeah.
put it on you.
This is an interesting thing. At the Masters, the champion that wins celebrates with his own menu.
Yes, the next year
Yeah.
they have a champions dinner, and then the champion picks the menu
Oh, really?
for the dinner.
Yeah.
And so, and I guess it was really, really amazing. And of course, you can imagine,
They said some people actually picked like really weird.
Yeah,
comfort
there,
food, like
somebody a
burgers
few
and
years
macaroni.
back. Yeah, a few years back there was like hamburgers and French fries and a couple other, on
Yeah.
the grill. But then they had some caviar to go with it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
It's probably like the best burger you could possibly find.
But so
Yeah.
it's kind of a fun thing. You get to pick your favorite food, and everybody gets to eat it with you.
It was fun.
Yeah.
yeah. Here you go.
It literally is like a club,
Yeah.
like a kids club.
It
Like,
is.
hey,
Of the best
what do you
golfers in
want
the
for
world.
your
Yeah, right.
birthday?
So
Yeah,
the
right.
winner got, I just looked it up, $4.5 million. Mm-hmm. The most expensive Pokemon card sold for $16.5 million, which means winning the Masters is equal. You would have to win it 3 times to
That's right,
equal
there you go.
one
One of the
Pokemon
Pokemon
card.
card. Is that
Yeah.
the Pokemon or
Kids,
the
what do you
Pikachu?
wish to
Pikachu
do
illustrated
more?
card.
I'm going to go ahead and invite you to do this. Lisa Kay is in Japan
Oh boy,
right now.
what are you going to tell me to do?
Yeah, Lisa Kay is in Japan right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Buy some cards.
Buy some cards. Have her buy some cards.
Yes.
She's only allowed to buy 1 pack a day.
Wow.
They have a restriction on it.
No way,
And you can
really?
only get it at 7-Elevens.
Yeah.
It is so
In Japan?
In Japan, it is so like locked down.
Hey, I'm just saying, Peach, this is like retirement fund here stuff, right? So
Yeah.
let's
Reach
have
out
her
to
build those things.
Reach out to her.
Hey,
Yeah.
pick
And
up
Like
then
your
you're
retirement
getting-
is a Pokemon card.
Buy
so some people
cards.
could, right? I got a buddy who could probably put a down payment on a house pretty easily with his portfolio of cards.
That is okay. Let's
Do it. I mean, I'm all for it.
Yep.
And then we'll get a safe, put it in your office, and you can put your retirement in your safe.
You know what's crazy? This is super funny. Like, I met this guy at our Pizza Hut in Charlevoix, and it's kind of like the thing, right? Like, we're getting to know people who do stuff for us on the regular, and he sells cards on Whatnot. Yep. So it's like a live auction site. But every time I come in now, because Theo's kind of into Whatnot, and he's buying, he's not selling. The idea is to eventually sell. He's like, I just bought a pack of Pokemon cards at Walgreens, and it's $1,000 card.
Are you kidding me?
And he's like, I bought 12 of them. I bought 12 packs. But he's like, I just sold it for $900 after fees or whatever.
He did it?
Yeah, and this is a guy who's working at Pizza Hut, and he does it.
Okay.
He does it on the regular. No, Theo didn't.
Oh, okay.
But the guy, I talked to him.
Have you ever been
pizza night every week? Right?
Have you ever been to Walmart here in Petoskey when the guy who puts the Pokemon cards out comes strolling in?
Oh yeah,
and there's like a line of people.
It's like people can smell.
Yeah, they're like right there, and as soon as he takes them out and puts them on the shelf, people are like grabbing it. Right? I mean, it's like, what is happening?
Yeah. Downstate, you can buy 3 Pokemon card things. So you could buy a whole box, but you could only buy 3 of those. You could buy a pack, but you could only buy 3 of those. And if you were going to buy more, you'd have to leave, put it in your car, and loop back around.
Really?
Because they won't check you out.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's when you.
Anyways, back to the Masters. Back to the Masters.
All right.
That was a good distraction there for a second. Okay, so this is the other thing too. Is interesting is the course is almost perfect, too perfect. Apparently, they put flowers and plants that bloom at the exact time the Masters is playing.
Okay, so the original course was built on a nursery, so it already had lots of shrubbery and things on it. But here's what they've done.
Okay,
they want the azaleas and all the flowers. Every hole has a different name.
Okay.
And every name is matched up with some type of flower. Okay.
All right.
They put watering systems, both heating and cooling, under every flower bed.
What?
And then they can force the flowers to bloom on the weekend of the Masters.
Yeah.
Whoa.
They can slow it down or speed it up and get it to hit on the
crazy.
weekend.
That's wild.
That's why it's almost too perfect. It's like all this stuff is happening.
Man,
It's well orchestrated. Okay,
that's a flex right there. Hey, you got the Lamborghini in the driveway.
Yeah.
I can get my flowers to bloom on
In the middle of the winter.
Yeah,
you need
right.
it.
when I want them to. Here's the last one. This is one I think you mentioned last week, though, too.
Yep.
Money does not guarantee that you have a seat.
Right.
Yeah, apparently.
So it's a lottery-based ticket system. So you put your name in, and hopefully you draw. And then, so if I want to go and I didn't draw, then I'm going to buy it from a secondary selling place, scalper, whatever.
Yeah.
So I found 4 tickets for the 4 days. So if I took my family, $56,000.
Yeah, that's a deal. You get one of those Pokemon cards.
Yeah, what is that? A
You're
fifth?
doing that
Yeah.
plus, man.
Okay, so you get tickets to the Masters. Mm-hmm. Where are you located in watching? Is it just like you're following a guy,
Okay,
or
so you get there at the crack of dawn, and then you pick a spot, and then you see all those crowds with thousands and thousands of people on per hole. They've sat there all day, and they just they watch every person go by, and then you can pick up and move to a different spot.
but your ticket doesn't say,
No.
hey, I'm in the front of this.
I don't believe so. I believe
Okay.
you get to go where you want to go.
So would you follow a guy
Interesting.
or would you sit at a hole?
I would probably sit at a hole, I would
Yeah.
think. Now, here's a crazy thing. I've watched the Masters so many years, right? There's hole number 16. It's a par 3 that have to hit over water. There are an occasional hole-in-one on that one particular hole on Sunday. Every Sunday I've watched it. There's the same lady sitting in this same
No way,
exact
really?
seat
Really?
for years.
Huh.
That's awesome.
That's
Yep.
cool.
Yeah,
All right.
she's
I can
probably got
appreciate it.
legacy tickets, right? She's probably
Yeah, I don't know how she does it, but
That's well.
That's her thing.
Yeah, it's apparently there's not, like you said, there's not like a VIP section. Like you get a box seat somewhere.
Yeah, it's interesting.
there may be, I don't know, because there are grandstands and stuff, and so maybe you can get yourself some seats there. But everybody brings their own portable seat,
Yeah.
and then they sit
but
it down
she's
where
in
you
the
want to
same
sit.
spot every year.
But she's in the same
That's
exact
awesome.
spot.
That's cool.
Everybody knows her
So
name.
the
I
camera,
respect
the
that.
camera is coming back. The guy's warming up.
Yeah.
And she's sitting right over his left shoulder.
Everybody's like, Denise is coming.
And this is
Make
who
room for her.
you've just noticed this. This isn't like a known thing.
I would think by now everybody has known
Okay.
it, but
Okay.
Everybody's
definitely-
figured it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is her spot.
Right.
Don't take
And
it.
then there was one guy this year. He sat over the other guy's shoulder, and he had an egg salad hat on, a different egg salad hat every day.
really?
So they're like, That's weird.
Okay. Well,
People are
because now we're talking about them, and
and now we're having a chat about them.
So Peach, is live golf. What do we think? Is it still a thing?
I don't think
it's still a thing.
That's a bad word. You shouldn't be talking.
That's Is it like the message Bible to like the people who are like,
Bible.
Okay.
It's a different style of golf.
That's a great reference.
It's a different style of golf. They only play 3 days instead of 4.
Okay.
It's a team event, not a single event. It's over in the blood money.
Yep.
And so it's a little blasphemous.
Yeah, gotcha.
But they kind of really pushed hard against the PGA because the PGA was this well-established, super controlling, mega billions of dollars coming in and not really paying out. So now you're getting $4 million for the Masters. Up until the Live, they were only getting $1 million.
Yeah.
But Live's paying out, 16, 20, $100 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're starting to push the boundaries. So it has a positive impact in some way.
Sure. Competition
It's always-
usually makes companies better.
Okay, here's my last. I didn't put it on here, but this is my last question. Okay, so do you know how much the first Masters person won? The first golfer won. The winning prize was.
I don't know the answer. Do you?
Yes.
Okay, so it's probably less than 10,000.
Yes.
Okay.
Is $1,500.
Yeah.
How long ago was this though?
In the 30s.
Yeah, it'd be in the 30s.
Yeah,
but-
I mean,
20.
So
30s.
probably big
in
roller.
today's money, he'd have won like 33,000.
Oh. Right. Ah, wow. Okay. That's underwhelming.
But I'm like $1,500, and it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a big deal then.
So I was in church on Sunday, and Rachel was like, "Why does Pastor Gary look like he's playing golf today?" And I was like, "Because it's the Masters." She's like, "What is that?" I'm like,
So
"Okay."
You're like, I don't know if we can be married anymore.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
it was just-
1934 is the year on the first Masters, but yeah.
1934?
Yeah, 1934. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, I was like,
she's-
I'm like, it's his thing, right? Like
Yeah.
this is and you got John Walker's like ready for the golf game, and like, yeah, it was,
There were quite a few guys on Sunday that were wearing golf shirts.
Yep.
I was like, I missed the memo, apparently.
yeah.
well,
I'm not
we're
a
done with
golfer.
flannels. Flannels are done now.
Yeah.
It's time to move on to the summer.
Pull out that's good. Well, we're going to take an ID break, come back with Harbor Light Bible Trivia. Pastor Gary, you have a question, I imagine?
I'm coming up with one now.
All right, good.
More podcast is not recommended for those who prefer safe, predictable conversations. Side effects may include unexpected laughter, mild conviction, quoting episodes in public, and texting your friends. You've got to hear this. Do not listen while operating heavy machinery unless you enjoy laughing for no reason. If exposure lasts longer than one episode, you may experience a desire for more. The More podcast, use at your own risk.
All right, here we are with Harbor Light Bible Trivia. And that's not the one we want. We want this one. That was for Bible Talk. Sorry, I had the wrong button there.
That was the spot music.
That was the spot music, yeah. We have got new names going up on the board. The Wilson Insurance Wheel of Destiny. And you could be on there and win a prize. Remember, we have these great drink, what do they call them? Canteens.
Yeah.
Whatever they are.
These are legit.
They're
Yeti
real. Yeah, they're Yeti.
And what is it? Hydro Flask.
We're not messing around.
Yeah, really good stuff.
This is good stuff. So
I want this
we have
one.
that there, and we have the Crooked Biscuit, $20 towards some amazing food there. You could win all that if you answer this question, Pastor Gary.
All right, we're ready to go. We're going to be setting up for this weekend's talk, which is Service with a Smile. And so Jesus says that serving is the greatest thing that you can do. And I want you to tell me what chapter of the Bible Jesus demonstrates true serving. When Jesus served the people around him the greatest. What chapter did that take place in?
That could be good. That'd be a good one. If you know the answer to that, you can send it to harborlightbibletrivia@gmail.com, harborlightbibletrivia@gmail.com, all lowercase, and let us know what you think, and then we put your name on the Wilson Insurance Wheel of Destiny, so you could possibly win one of these President Trump endorsed Yetis that we have here. Are these signed? Hey, have you guys have you seen those Sharpies? They're selling them now. The President Trump Sharpie.
I heard about it.
I think we need
I
to get
haven't
some
seen
for
it.
the office. I don't know how much they are, but I saw that they were selling them. Maybe on Amazon we can get them. I'll be right back after this quick ID break, and we'll be right into Bible Talk.
Headphones on. Check. The perfect podcast on. Check. Not sure why you're listening? Good point. Should you keep listening? Yes. Should you tell others you listen to the More Podcast? Good idea. Life just got better.
Gee whiz, fella.
I can't hit the right buttons today. I might have glasses. All right, well, real talk for a second. Have you ever hit a moment in your life where everything shifts and the only question is left is what's next? Not the exciting version, the confusing one. Like, God, I thought you were in this. I thought I understood what you were doing. And now, well, nothing makes sense. That's exactly where we step into the story today. On the road to Emmaus, 2 disciples walking away from Jerusalem, walking away from what they thought was the plan, trying to make sense of a broken expectation. And here's the part that will mess with you. Jesus is walking right next to them, and they don't even recognize him. So here's where we're going today. What do you do when you're walking through something and God is closer than you think, but you just can't see it? Pastor Gary.
Hey, thank you. So we started a brand new series called What's Next. This is reaching out to those people who have accepted Jesus Christ as their personal Lord and Savior in the past couple of weeks and are wondering, where do I go now that I have made this decision? I'm following Jesus. What is the next steps that I need to take? And so we launched the series off with Burning Hearts, and that is found from Luke chapter 24, when the 2 disciples who are leaving Jerusalem on the very same day that Jesus rose from the dead, they are kind of returning back to their hometown, given up on what their hopes and dreams were, that Jesus would take Israel away from the bondage of Rome. And so they have given up, they're headed home, and Jesus makes his appearance walking along with them. And as he's walking along, he kind of plays dumb a little bit and says, what are you guys talking about? And then let's talk about that a little bit more. And so he opened up the scriptures in their minds and went through the entire Old Testament on how Jesus was in every story, every book, and who he was or his type or whatever in the Old Testament. And then they sat down for dinner, and Jesus took the bread, and he blessed it and broke it and handed it out to them, and instantaneously their eyes were opened. They recognized Jesus, and then he disappeared. And they asked each other, wasn't your heart burning when Jesus was talking to us? And they said yes. And then they quickly got up within an hour and ran back to Jerusalem to report to the 11 disciples what had happened.
That would have freaked me out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sitting there and now they do something.
So the burning hearts was the idea that we were going to focus on. And we asked one big question, which I think was kind of at the heart of our whole talk. And that is, why would God close their eyes so they wouldn't be able to recognize Jesus? It seems to me he would want them to recognize Jesus immediately. But I believe that God is up to multiple levels of things going on in our lives. Many times we just think God's working only on one level, and he's really working on multiple levels, or even things we don't understand or can see. And so we talked about how that closing of their eyes allowed Jesus to talk to them and instruct them and model for them how to lead someone to Jesus from the scriptures who will never see the risen Jesus for themselves. And their hearts were burning because they could see what he was saying, and he was teaching them how to do that in the future, because all of the mission from that point forward was going to take place without the risen Jesus in front of them. And so they needed a model and a way to be able to lead people to Christ without having the risen Savior standing in front of them.
That's very good point. Yeah, I wonder sometimes, as you're bringing that up too, like, maybe they, just like us, we see what we want to see, and sometimes we don't listen to what we need to hear, and it's almost like God sometimes has to kind of get our attention, and we're like in the midst of something, and we only want God to do what we think he should do and how we want it done, and you don't hear what his heart is, what he really wants to have happen, and it's kind of like getting them to really zone in and figure out what's going on here.
You guys can jump in on this. I agree with you that many times, the Lord is doing something, or he is in the process of doing things in our lives, and we can't seem to see his hand at work.
Right.
But somebody from an outside perspective can say, well, look at the Lord over there, look at the Lord over here. And it helps us and encourages us to be able to look. Our first big point that we made in the talk was that seeing isn't always believing.
Yeah.
You know, there are people, and even in my own life, right? I'll see the Lord at work, but I can't believe it because my mind is too boxed into what I think needs to happen. You guys got any thoughts on that?
You know, I think the Emmaus Walk is kind of this, and to me, it's this kind of the Superman situation where Superman puts on a pair of glasses and he has so much aversion of expectation that people can't see him for who he really is. And so I think it just shows to us as the readers of how discouraged these men were.
Yeah.
That they were so beaten down and so much of this is finished that when Jesus shows up, the aversion of their expectation has been completely taken away. So to see Jesus in their mind would be impossible. And when something's impossible, you won't see it to the way that it really is. And so people do this in their spiritual life all the time.
Yeah.
To where we think something's impossible, we're so defeated that we're now leaving the place that we knew we were supposed to stay.
Yeah.
And then Jesus could be walking right next to us, talking to us and trying to work something in our minds, but we don't even recognize that he's that guy and he's still here, even though I've kind of given up.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think it's a story of grace and of hope, that even when we're giving up, Jesus is still fighting for us. He's still praying for us on our behalf. And so I think it's really special.
That's good.
I think there's all kinds of reasons of why they didn't realize and why it was good that they didn't, right? I think when you're Jesus or when you're somebody of importance and you're talking to somebody, they will give you a different conversation than if you were just some random person, right? Everything will be totally different. And so Jesus got a really neat opportunity to explain to them the scriptures and the why behind the why Jesus did all this stuff and why the Bible explains Jesus from the Old Testament in a way that wouldn't have happened if they would have just noticed and realized immediately that this is Jesus.
Yeah, it's super consistent too with who Jesus is throughout the Gospels, right? So in his teachings of the parables, there's always this aspect of the on the nose, this is the point, and also there's some meaning that will come later on. Right. And so I think that's really, that really stood out to me in the Emmaus story. And then the other idea of, thinking along the prophetic, like help me out here, Peach, but the role of a prophet is not only to say what's going to happen in the future, but it's to say what no one else can see right now, right? And so there is this sense of you guys don't fully see the full picture, right? It is still kind of that idea of the right now truth and then what's to come. And so that's certainly true of what Jesus is doing here of like, hey, there's some truth that is right in front of you and you don't even see the fact that I am the one that is the truth, right? And that just kind of stood out to me.
Have you guys ever, as pastors, have you guys ever had a conversation with somebody that come to you, well, they're having a conversation with you and they have these issues and whatever else, and you're trying to give them help. You're trying to share them the truth, point them to the truth, give them understanding what's going on. And they're nodding their heads and but they're so consumed by what they're going through.
See it.
They just can't even begin to understand. What you're saying just kind of goes right over their head. That to me is kind of like the scenario. It's like he's going and he's telling them and they're having this conversation, and yet they're still so thinking about the expectation that, well, he died. He's done. It's over. Let's move on. Weren't you there? I mean, they even said that. Weren't you there? Didn't you hear about that? So that was what was consuming them. So they could never really understand what was going on. And to me, it was like when I was hearing you talk about it, I'm like, that happens all the time in our own journey, where God's trying to speak to us and trying to help us understand something. And we're like, yeah, whatever. And then we kind of just continue to stay in the fire of what's going on. And we just don't ever see the possible solution. And like you said, he's standing right there and he's like, my hand's out here. I'm trying to pull you out of the mess if you just do it. But we're like, you keep talking about it. You keep rehashing. You keep, cycling
that's
through it.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think it helps kind of reiterate also like the importance of, after the fact, like these disciples would need each other, right? So you could miss the point when Jesus is standing right in front of you, but now, man, I need that disciple standing next to me to be able to go, you remember when Jesus was with us, and don't forget this stuff. So that's a big deal. Like,
I think the one of the side points, this actually brings a lot of validity to the resurrection, because these guys, if they were going to If they're going to sit around Jerusalem and come up with some excuse that Jesus had risen even though he hadn't, they would have stayed in town and got their story straight.
Right.
These guys were showing authenticity by saying, we're leaving.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
we're done.
It's
we're
over.
done. He's
It's
dead.
done.
We're leaving.
And for historical writings, it's even more because, you know, Luke would have went and talked to this gentleman that we get his name. Cleopas. And Cleopas would have admitted we gave up and walked away, and then admitted we were too dumb to realize that it was Jesus.
Yeah.
And so usually in fake writing, people aren't going to make themselves look bad. They will always make themselves look good.
Yeah.
And so, but when it's true, you will.
Right.
Yeah.
That's definitely a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason that we know Cleopas, for that very reason you just said. So Luke is the one that says, go check it out. Go talk to Cleopas. He's still alive to verify the story.
Right.
The other person probably had passed away, and so his name isn't mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah.
His name was Bob.
Yeah, Kevin.
Kevin, man. Good old Kev.
Kevin, yeah.
I do have a mystery question for you guys.
Sure.
I'd like to hear the three theologians help me with this. So if you look at the very end of this passage, I'm going to read to you when the two get back to Jerusalem. And it says, and they ran within an hour back to Jerusalem. There they found the 11 disciples and the others who had gathered with them. Now remember, this is all on Sunday, the same day. Okay. And they said, the Lord is really risen. He appeared to Peter. And then the two from Emmaus told their story about how Jesus had appeared to them as they were walking along the road and how they recognized him when he was breaking the bread. We have no scripture. There's no scripture reference to the Lord appearing to Peter on the very first day. What do you guys think about that? We know that Jesus appears to Peter with the others 8 days later. We know that he has breakfast with them on the beach after they go fishing for the night.
Yep.
But we have no interaction with Jesus and Peter on the first day.
And in there it says
That he did.
that he did.
Yeah. Here's my opinion.
Here we go.
Here's my opinion. Because that was between Jesus and Peter.
Okay.
Because Peter failed.
Exactly.
And Jesus was going to have an intimate heart-to-heart conversation with him.
You done know what you did.
You know what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my pastor heart just wishes that Judas could have made it to Sunday so that Jesus could have went and talked to him too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Because they both failed in massive ways. And one maybe more than the other. But they both rejected Jesus, right? And Jesus shows up personally, and they have an intimate, hey, this isn't between anybody else. This is between me and you. And they figure it out. It's really special.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I like his answer. That's good.
Yep.
I'd go with that.
Yep.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I'm in.
What did you guys think about when we went through that list of just a real small sampling of Old Testament, prophetic statements about Jesus in the Old Testament? We started in Genesis and went all the way through Psalms and, Isaiah, and we could have ended in Malachi. What do you guys think about those little hints of the Messiah and those prophetic words?
Isn't it kind of shocking though? Mm-hmm. I mean, you have so much information in front of you pointing to this guy, and yet you're still blind to it. And I mean,
So how did all of these very religious know the scriptures by heart? How do they not see the suffering Savior?
I tend to kind of get a little personal and go, man, I want to have a little more empathy for folks, because I just know that I miss Jesus all the time too, and it's only by the grace of God that we do, right? The prompting of the Holy Spirit. I think right, like what we celebrated in the Seder. I mean, you just have all these great direct things. One of the ones that I love that I had heard, what is the term? Jesus is the more perfect Isaac. Right, Abraham and Isaac. It's obviously the sacrifice is this foreshadowing of Jesus being the one. And man, for whatever reason, that just hit me on Sunday, PG. I've heard that before, but the sense of putting sticks on his back, right? All this sort of stuff that just is so clearly pointing to messiahship of what the perfect Messiah, perfect sacrifice will be. Not only is that just so awesome to think about, man, God is weaving this story of Jesus throughout Scripture. But it gives me a much better answer too when people are going, you have a megalomaniac God who's going to force a father to kill his son. You know what I mean? To go, well, wait a minute. You know what I mean? We're short-sighted on it, and here's the full picture of the story. God's setting it up. He's teeing it up for Jesus, and this is a way for his chosen people, his family, the Israelites, to read and know this story over and over. Now they can point to Jesus and go, oh, wait, you know what I mean? There's that sense that
I think what you're saying is really important, because you have to have the full view of all the scriptures.
Yeah.
Right? We're talking about deconstructionists. You know, they're the ones that say God the Father is an abusive father.
Right.
Well, guess what? I mean, there's some validity to that. God allowed Jesus to be beaten and put up on that cross, right? But for what reason?
Right.
For our salvation, right? Yeah. So, so short-sighted of people to make an opinion based only on one part,
right.
Or they humanize God. They put God in human form.
Right.
That's just not what
it's just, again, that the one of the better things that I've ever heard is when you read stories in the Old Testament, you read with the picture of God's continual work to redeem his people. His whole heart the entire time is come back to me, come back to me, come back to me. And guess what? Here's the final answer in Jesus. And I just think that that's really, really a good principle when we're in Scripture, especially in the Old Testament.
Yeah, people don't also understand. Go into what you said about Isaac, and I think it's getting away from your original question, Pastor Gary, but people don't understand that sacrifice at that time. People don't realize how grace-filled God was. Because back then, if you needed it to rain and it's not raining, or you needed it to stop raining and it's still raining, what people would do is they would cut themselves. Well, how many times would you cut yourself? I don't know.
Depends on how dry it is.
Just cut yourself as many times as it takes. And we're going to sacrifice animals. So how many animals do you sacrifice? Well, I don't know. Well, the animals aren't working, so I guess I'm going to sacrifice my kids. Well, how many kids do I sacrifice? Well, I don't know. Until it happens. And so God comes along and he says, you're going to sacrifice, but it's only going to be animals. Men, you're going to cut yourself, but you're only going to cut yourself once. Right? And there's actually a lot of grace there, because beforehand, everybody is, it's like wild west of everything they're doing. So, and God is abolishing, right, this practice of sacrificing all of their kids and sacrificing children to these false gods. And so, for Abraham to be like, all right, I'm going to sacrifice my kid, that was a normal practice then. And that's kind of crazy to say, but these things were happening. And then God says, no, you're not going to do that.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? People who would be scrutinizing or speaking badly about Christianity because we have this practice back in the Old Testament. But if you just open up the pagan world,
oh my goodness,
this is nothing compared to what the pagans were doing. So quit, criticizing Christianity for having this story in the past that we like to kind of quickly read over or wash it down for children's ministry.
Yep.
Well,
and that's the truth.
Here's the hard truth that we don't always acknowledge. The fact is, God meets us at the threshold of our theology.
Yeah, come on.
And so if he needed to do that because any other way would not have made sense or had an impact. It's unfortunate, but it is us. It's what we are. And so this is how he meets us. I mean, if God could have just done something a lot less, I'm sure he would have picked that in a heartbeat, but it wouldn't have done the same thing. It would have never had the impact or the change that it did.
I think this is something, in my level of communicating, there are physical laws, there are natural laws, there are spiritual laws, right? And these laws can't be broken. And blood has to be shed for the forgiveness of sin. That's a spiritual law, and you can't get away from it. I'm sorry. And we can't, again, wash it down and make it super, super cleanly so that we don't get too much blood on our hands. I'm sorry. This is a spiritual law.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was a spiritual law in the sense that it had to be that way. Because if he would have said, just sprinkle water on your doorpost, sprinkle water and the angel of death will go by, the impact would have not been as great to us as anything else, because we understand, just because of where we come from, or in the image of God, we have his thought and DNA. It had to be that sacrifice. It had to be that thing.
Isn't it interesting, coming from a church background where we're not really into rituals and those kind of things, but humans need touch points. We need the experience of taking. But my dad used to explain it this way: you go pick out this lamb and you bring it home, and it stays with you for the week, and your kids fall in love with it, and now we kill it. Right. That's all really rich.
Yeah.
That we have this Messiah that we fall in love with, and then he dies for us, right? That is something that we touch that. Our emotions connect to the Lamb, right? And we don't do a lot of rituals, but rituals are touching points for people's faith.
Yeah.
Right? So Jesus could have just showed up and prayed over everybody and got back to heaven, and everybody would have been healed, but they wouldn't understand why and all of that stuff. The woman touching the hem of his garment, she understood what those tassels meant, right? That's why she reached out and touched those things.
Yeah.
Every one of these touch points, and I'm speaking to myself here, we're so afraid of rituals that we cut them all out.
Right.
And then we cut out people's opportunity to be able to have it was on this day and in this spot that the Lord met me, and I'm never going to forget that, and I'm going to build a memorial there, as long as we don't worship the memorial, right? But we need these markers in our lives.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's how God created us. I mean that's why in the Bible, in the Old Testament, you see when they weren't with God, they were doing things similar, but totally opposite of what He intended for them to do, because it's a part of who we are.
Yeah,
we have to have that. But getting back to your question about all that stuff in the Scripture, isn't it amazing to us how noise dictates our filters and our responses and all these things? And I think it's interesting that as noise of life is happening, sometimes we miss what's the reality of what we need to really pay attention to. And I think, for people in the stories that we read in Scripture, the noise around them was always the nations that were trying to take them over, or the government that was in charge. That was always seemed to be the focus of the people. That became their focus to the point where the things that were the reality that they should have been paying attention to, they could not. And it just kind of reminded us that that's how easy it is, right? When people are saying, I don't get anything out of the Bible. I'm not hearing God. Well, because the noise is getting louder around you and you're not focusing on what you need to focus on. So it is easy to miss out on it. I mean, we can't look at them and go, those guys are dumb. How dumb were they that they could not see Jesus and all these different things? Well, they couldn't see it because they were focusing on all these other things that seemed to be so much bigger.
Sneak peek when Pastor Hunter comes to share about spending that time with God. I am so looking forward to encouraging people to cut out the noise, shut off the phone, get away, go spend the weekend in a tent or a camp or somewhere and get alone with the Lord. I am looking forward to that message.
That's so true.
That's going to be cool. Yeah.
And then you will see
100%.
What Jesus wanted.
And we're getting into my sermon, but listen, when the world gets louder, when your life gets louder, you have to push against and get quieter. It's the only way, because when it's the loudest, that's when you need Him the most.
Yeah.
But when it's the loudest is when you can't hear Him the most, right?
Yeah,
and so you have to intentionally say, I'm going to get quiet here so I can hear.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? We live in America. We have more resources than any other nation for God, and yet we have more people statistically say, I don't hear from God like I used to, or I don't see God. I don't know what God wants me to do. I don't understand His will. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. How is that possible?
Yeah.
How is that possible? Well, it's because of the noise. There's noise around them that is so loud that they cannot.
April 26th.
Yeah.
That's it.
Get in church. It's going to be good.
That's awesome.
It's a preview.
That just makes me so excited that we sit around this table and we get a chance to preach and sing and those kind of things, and we can't wait for our turn.
Yeah, right.
Right.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
people are getting home run after home run after home run.
Ready to swing the bat.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I think you said something pretty powerful there, PG, and the ritual idea. There is this tendency to kind of amplify the vehicle that gets us to God, right? And we don't want to do that. But there are just maybe we call them routines rather than rituals. So, one of the questions for today was, how is it possible for people to know about Jesus but still miss Him in their everyday life? And I'm thinking about that. Trying to show some humanity to folks that I agree. I find myself in the same boat of, I need routine. Right. So I can know a lot about Jesus, and I believe that I have a vibrant faith and a growing faith, but there are days where maybe I'm just knowing more about Him than I'm having a close relationship with Him. And that's where I think routine is so helpful. So you're not going to have a good relationship with anybody on accident. And so having some sort of routine, and super excited for, that sermon coming up here, Pastor Hunter, on how do we do that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Or osmosis, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, my bride has been away for, closing in on a week now. And, we have coffee and devotions every morning together. And so that hasn't been happening. Yeah. And, and I can't wait for her to get back, because I need that routine of spending time with her and how rich it is. And so I just can't wait for her to get back. It's gonna be good.
Great.
Yeah.
But you guys are around each other all the time, so there must be something different about that time.
It is.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Right.
Yeah, it is different because
Totally different.
That's a holy moment, right?
Yeah,
That's
I might
a
wink at
sanctified
her.
moment.
I might wink at her a couple of times, but the truth is, we're in the Word, right?
Yeah, come on.
Our spirits are connecting with God. So
Yeah.
Let's read the Song of Solomon's again. What? We just read that.
we're going verse by verse.
You can be next to someone all day long.
Yeah.
It's different when
Yeah.
you're intentional about it.
Right.
It always will be.
That is so true, right? I mean, I don't know. But you know, we talk to people when we're doing premarital counseling. You know, there's something amazing about when you get to that place in your marriage where silence is the same. Mm-hmm. Like you can sit in the same room together and you're next to each other and you're so content, so in love that nothing has to be said. You don't have to have the conversation, come up with small talk.
I'm going to give a little sneak peek into my wife's life, and hopefully she'll let her
This is a
brother.
$20 version.
It's
Yeah.
going to cost you.
So she's in Japan right now. This is the first time that she's spent any serious time with her brother since he graduated from high school. Right.
Wow.
So we're talking 40 years plus, and so she's over there now, and she told me, she goes, they're in love. Her brother and her sister-in-law are in love, and they flirt with each other. They call each other babe, and it just brought so much peace to her to know that her brother's in love with his wife, even after all these years being married, and she's getting to see it in behind closed doors. And I could feel her smile.
That's Lisa K's heart, right?
Yeah,
that's
totally.
cool.
That's so cool. Yeah, and then now she's got to pick up Pokemon cards, so we got to.
Yeah.
This is a shout out to Lisa K. Pick up Pokemon
Shout out.
cards. Yeah.
Fund the 401k.
Yeah, this is Hunter's retirement fund that we're working on here, so we keep working on it. Now it makes me want to get you Pokemon cards because I don't buy them
hard
anymore
to
for my
find.
son because he's in Alabama. So
Yeah, so we were at.
This is great. We can switch this from Peeps to Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
We'd be moving in the right direction.
So I was at the Easter dinner with my family, and there was a person in my family who their child and all the kids at the table all have Pokemon, and he had a app where he was like taking a picture of the card, and it was telling him the value of it right there in the spot, and if it was graded or not. And I'm like,
crazy.
You're an adult.
hey,
It's called When Nerds Get Money, guys. This is what this is.
Getting adult money. The game changes.
Well, my grandson had one that was probably about $400, and I'm like, "Are you selling it?" I mean,
let's get that thing
get
down
that thing
the road.
moving down the road.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Come on.
Yep.
I like the ones. I like it when they won't hardly hold it. Right. Mm-hmm. Like I remember these kids here at the church had a book of it during fasting and prayer, and they were back there looking at them while we were out praying. And they're like, and one of the kids is like wanting to pull it out to look at it, and the other person's like, "Don't do. What are you doing?
Yeah, don't do that.
It's like, you leave it in the package.
Psychopath.
Yeah, you leave it in the booklet. Yeah. So I was like, oh, whoa, they're serious about this. Well, that's it for us on the More Podcast. So, Pastor Gary, you got one more Sunday. Right?
I do.
And what is coming up?
We are talking about serving and how serving is important, and how it is our spiritual lifeblood. So that's where we're going this weekend.
And there's going to be a mass foot washing. No.
Alex, led by Pastor Alex.
No, that's when I go to the bathroom
Pastor
for an
Alex.
extended amount of time. I'm
Everybody
like,
come to Pastor Alex's line. He loves feet.
Don't do that to me, please. Don't
We
do that
cannot
to
end
me.
the podcast
No,
with that.
yeah.
So we're excited about that. It's going to be a great message about serving.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a great week.
You have found us. More Podcast, where we want you to know God more deeply. Find lasting freedom, discover your destiny, and make an eternal difference. Now,